Well, welcome to the live stream. It is great to have you guys with me tonight. If you are on with me, please give me a shout out and let me know. I'm very excited about tonight's live stream because we have a couple things that we're going to talk about. One, I want to just say a shout out to those of you that subscribed. I actually saw today that we passed 500 subscribers. We're going to stop and highlight that in a little bit, but we also have a very special guest with us tonight. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. So I want to allow you guys to get on. Please give me a shout out if you are on live. And we are going to have some questions here a little bit later. I'm excited about our guest. Also want to say that we're going to give you a sneak peek into my HyperDeck series. So those of you that are building studios, those of you who are learning about the ATEMs as well as other products by Blackmagic Design, don't forget that the HyperDeck is one of those tools that has been around for a long time. I'm sure at some point in the future there's going to be an update to it, but it's designed to play video and do other things in your live broadcast. And I am doing a series about that. I want to give you guys a sneak peek. That's kind of celebrating this live show. That'll be uploaded to the channel. It'll be available for everyone, and it'll be a number of series on the HyperDeck. So one of the things that happened this week, which was kind of interesting, which kind of set our course tonight, was I got an alert in my inbox, and it was an alert. I had signed up for a email about an app that has been being developed, and I was very excited about it when I read about it. And I register like many of us do, so I get an alert when it goes live. I got that this week. The app is called MixEffect, and there is a MixEffect version and a Pro version. And that's our guest tonight. We have with us tonight Adam Tao, and he is obviously an app writer. I've been in the app. I've looked at it. It's very, very intuitive, very easy to use, and I'm learning it. Like I said, I've only downloaded a few days ago, but decided, hey, I was going to reach out and just say how much I thought the app was incredible, and if you're ever willing to be on the show, So Adam so graciously decided to be on the show. I'm excited about that. So let me just say this. He's a graduate of Stanford University, which is pretty impressive. He's got a long list of things he's been able to do, even in the Bay Area, part of some startups. He's worked with some pretty impressive companies. He's with Vox Media right now. I love the idea that he says in his bio, he's a part of the experimental division. I feel like every day in my studio and with all the technology, I'm living in the experimental zone. And obviously, many of us have talked about how much we would love to have more intuitiveness with Blackmagic Design products. And they obviously were designed specifically for control rooms. And then the ATEM and things came out. And so having the ability to streamline that with tools like the Stream Deck by Elgato and other things like Companion and even H2R graphics that you've heard of, I am so excited that there's now something that I'll be able to fire up on my iPad. And so let's just not take any more time. Let's invite in my special guest. I'm going to unmute your microphone here, Adam, and unmute mine so we can talk. And make sure that you unmuted. Are you muted on your side? So Adam, can you hear me before I put you on live? Yes, it looks like you're going to be able to hear me. So let me do a little switch here. Hey. And there you are.
How are we doing?
Good. Let me put you full view here. We're using Zoom, we talked about, and so it's good to have you on. Adam Tao is a web designer, an app designer, and tell me some other things about your history and this whole idea of MixEffects. What caused it? What was the background?
Well, my background is in software development and a little bit of photography. I actually wasn't doing too much video until maybe about a year and a half ago. This is around the time the pandemic started. And our company kind of pivoted to doing online live streaming, live events instead of in-person events. So I quickly had to learn kind of the ins and outs of kind of video production, both, in the cloud. And that kind of led me down this path where I'm like, ATEM Mini, podcast mics, lights and things like that. And then one thing led to another. And I started saying, with specifically the ATEM Mini Pro, I was like, where are all the buttons that are in ATEM software control that are missing on the ATEM Mini Pro? Like, for instance, the downstream keyer button. I'm like, what can I do to kind of give me that button on my phone, right? I mean, you could do that with a Stream Deck, and I have a Stream Deck. You could obviously do it from ATEM software control, but it's like, I want to do it for my phone. And that kind of led me down a very long and a long path towards making MixEffect.
So in reality, you were like the rest of us that saw the ATEM Mini come out, and I saw all the information about it. About the time I was thinking about an ATEM Mini, all of a sudden there was an ATEM Mini ATEM Pro. And so I had the Pro in my studio, and that's what I learned on, and really streamed almost 9 months with that. And I was in the same boat, right? I have a Stream Deck. Right. I heard a companion, but I was looking for kind of an intuitive, simple way. And to be honest with you, I kind of saw your app and kind of held out to see what was going to happen with it. So, I think that's probably the direction I'll go, just because it's just, I like the fact that I'm already on my iPad when I'm live, and so I can just flip over to that app and make changes if I need to. So why the MixEffect app and putting it out there for the whole world to use, and not just design something like many times guys like you do for something in-house and for the company?
Well, originally, again, it started just for my own personal use, but as I was developing, I was like, wow, this can actually be a control panel that can completely replace ATEM software control. And I saw kind of the market possibilities for it. And again, for my work, we're actually doing more cloud-based switching. So we're not using software or hardware that's like at your physical house. And the reason for that, at least in my case, is that I live 3 miles away from Apple's Spaceship Campus.
Wow.
Our internet is terrible. There's no fiber to my house. We get the cable company, and let's just say, the download speeds are good, but the upload speeds not so good.
Wow.
So I wouldn't be able to do a kind of fully remote production where I'm doing all the switching and stuff from my house, because our internet could go down at any second, or the bandwidth's just not enough. Right. So from the work perspective, we've been investigating using lots of cloud-based solutions, and they're working great. But for the person who's streaming from home, doing gaming or doing video production like yourself, or doing like a blog or podcast, this is the perfect solution, I think, because you can control stuff from your computer. Now you can control stuff from your phone. If you're doing like live events at a venue, you don't have to be chained to your desk where, you're dickering with the controls and stuff. You could actually be in the crowd. You could actually switch the event if you're the person on stage.
And you probably know this, Adam. Lots of companies like Personas and other companies have gone to mobile apps to be able to run their consoles. And so from the sound side of the world, this is really common. But on the side of this production side, the mixing side, I think it's been less common. And that's why people are writing code and writing things like this. But for me, getting off of this spot, I also do unboxings on a table, and my wife's podcast is right here. And I'm going to be doing podcasts on the table too. So just to have it right here to switch rather than mousing around is going to be great, because you could use, and we'll talk about this a little bit, Supersource as all of your switching, right? And then just be switching those super sources, which will be great now that I have an Extreme, or if someone has an Extreme or an Extreme ISO, or like the ME2. So again, what was the beta experience like, this whole process? I mean, did you involve people in the beta testing? What was that like? Because I'm jumping in now after the fact.
Right. So I opened up the beta at the beginning of March, I would think. It's been about 2 months. And when I opened the beta, I think, oh, I'm really close to release. Just like a week of beta, 2 weeks of beta. But it's a lot different when you're just coding on your own particular hardware. And when, hundreds, thousands of other people are using your hardware on like 10 different types of ATEM switchers. So, I had to resolve things like, I have an ATEM Constellation, a $10,000 switcher, and it's not connecting. Why is it not connecting? I'm like, well, I don't have a Constellation on my desk, or I have an ATEM Television Studio HD, which doesn't support this audio system, the new audio system that the new ATEMs support. Why is this not working? So, I had to basically get some hardware, and do a lot of testing. And the people, the beta testers were very instrumental towards kind of making the product the way it was. And then the last piece, you know, this whole Supersource stuff that I wrote was done in the span of just a few weeks.
Wow.
Because I didn't have an ATEM Extreme, right? But all the work that I've been doing to that point with like the DVE, where I could actually use touch to like drag around the little box, helped to make that feature possible once, you know, I got my hands on the Extreme.
Well, one of the things, and again,
so we're at the point now, you know, we're in May, is like, okay, the product is ready, so it's time to launch.
Yeah. So talk just a little bit about the application. And I know there's going to be questions about what you know, when you go to the App Store, what you get for free, and then what the upgrades are. And, you know, I just jumped in. Like I said, I clicked on the link on your email and dove in and just immediately knew that I would want all the features. And so, so talk just a little bit about that and the availability, and then maybe a little bit about, you know, what it's available on, you know, what operating system it's available on.
Sure. So at its core, MixEffect is a replacement for the ATEM software control application that runs on Mac OS and Windows. It runs on iOS, iPad OS, and Mac OS that with Apple Silicon Mac. So the M1 chip, so M1 Mac Mini, the newly announced M1 iMacs, and the MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros. It doesn't exist for Windows and doesn't exist for Android. I'll kind of say that right from the get-go, just because I'm all in on Apple stuff. So I've been using Apple products since the Apple II. So if that dates me, then you know how long I've been sipping from the the Kool-Aid of Apple. So probably no plans to make an Android thing. And if you want to take advantage of MixEffect, there are plenty of used iPads, or even you can even run it on the cheapest iPod Touch, right here. So it scales very well from the smallest iPhone, iPod Touch, to the biggest iPads. And it's available to download for free from the App Store right now. And there's a single in-app purchase to unlock MixEffect Pro, which has basically all the features unlocked. The free version allows you to do some basic switching. So you can set your program in preview. You can do cut and auto, play with the fader bar, and then set your transitions, mix, dip, wipe, and DVE. And it lets you, look at your aux, change your auxiliary outputs, and change a few settings in the switcher itself.
That's awesome. So one of the things that I just dove in, right? So I would much rather be off. I would be much better off if you did the demo than me, but I'm literally ready tonight to demo. It is on my iPad. I've had a chance to spend a little bit of time with. I would have spent more on it if I did not know I was going to have the designer on. And once I realized I was going to have you on, I thought, you know what? I learned over the years when you need to yield. So I'll go full screen if you want to kind of give an overview demo of what's going on here. And then we can, whenever you need to go, we'll wrap this up. And maybe a few people will have some questions if we have time for that. So, but I want to get right in the app, and anything you can think of. And if I see any questions on here, I will definitely let you know those. So here, let's go to,
okay.
You got the screen here.
All right. So thank you for having me again. We are looking at my screen, and I'm going to go switch into Supersource, so you can kind of see the screen and me. So right now you see me at full screen. I'm going to just go to a quick picture-in-picture, and the resolution might be a little off because we're using Zoom for this video, but I think you'll be able to follow along. This is the switcher interface. So if you're familiar with ATEM software control on your Mac or PC, it should be fairly familiar to you. We have a fader bar, so I can just use touch to switch between my my other input on preview, and I'll go back to Supersource. You can also hit the auto button, and you can see a transition like that. So we're on the Supersource right now. That's the red thing right here, but I can switch to, say, Media Player 2, and then just use the fader bar and switch to that image and switch back. So basic switcher capabilities. Like I said earlier, the reason why I developed MixEffect in the first place was to get that downstream keyer button. So you have it right here. I'm going to just click edit and just make sure there's something on Media Player 1. Let me switch to media player 2. So I just changed the source for the downstream keyer. And then if we take a look at my media, I'm going to set let's set the MixEffect logo as media player 2. Okay. And then if I turn on the downstream keyer, let's see what happens. So I just tap on air, and I think that's not what it should look like, but you get the point where I had the downstream keyer, I just tapped the button and then it appeared on screen.
Usually so that's pre-multiplied if you have that white. So pre-multiplied is on.
So you can upload images from your photos library. You just tap the plus button. At the moment, I don't support pre-multiplied.
Okay.
I have to figure out the right technique to do that. It's the Blackmagic kind of media upload is a little kind of convoluted, I find. So I need to figure out the right thing. But a future version will allow you to kind of upload pre-multiplied alpha images straight into the ATEM. So we go back to Supersource. Let's take a look at Supersource right now. So this is kind of like the highlight feature of the app, I think. And if you're familiar with Supersource in ATEM Software Control, you basically get 4 buttons. You get this view here, you get this view here, and then you get this weird view where you have like 3 boxes, and then there's like another view I forget at the moment. So, but what I'm able to do, and when you tap those buttons, they basically transition instantly. So you're not seeing animations like you are right here. So I'm just like tapping these presets, and you're seeing the transitions happen in real time, and they're animated, live. So all of these calculations are being done in real time. We're actually looking at a pre-release version of MixEffect. This is a version that's actually coming out any day now, because once Apple reviews it, I'll be releasing it. And it adds a few new features, such as kind of you can change your animation style, and you get different kind of transition styles from using mathematical formulas and stuff like that, which are very complicated for me, but they look great. So things that slow down when they start animating or speed up. So let's see. Let's go back to this view here. I'll just quickly show you some of the other features. You can change your color generators. So you can just use your finger and just change these sliders, and you'll see the colors change in real time. And it's kind of fun. If you have ATEM software control running on your computer, you can actually see the sliders move in real time as well on your Mac or your PC. So it's awesome. Kind of neat. We have full control of the upstream keyers from Luma, Chroma, Pattern, and DVE. So for instance, if I put this one up here, you're going to see me twice, I think, on the screen. You can actually move it around with your finger, and then I could like expand it with my finger using multi-touch, and I can like shrink it and stuff. And so you can perfectly position your DVE keyers in real time. And the same thing with Supersource too. So we have this particular one here where I'm in picture-in-picture. So I could just tap and hold and just move my picture around. So you see me kind of flying around the screen right now. And, I can make it bigger. And let's say, I'm doing a show and I'm like, okay, I want the picture-in-picture to be like this big. And I want to save this as a preset. So I can just tap the plus button here and just say, let's see, iPad Pro 12.9 pip alt for alternate. And then it will appear in my list of presets. Actually, I have a filter on my presets. So let me just get rid of that. And then you'll see it listed right here, the alt right here. So I can switch between the one I was in previously to the one that I just created here.
Awesome.
Okay. And then, if I wanted to update just that one, to say I wanted the thing to look like this, I can just hold and press and hold, and it'll just update. You see it's spun around a bit.
Wow.
There's a whole bunch of other things you can set up. You can do all your streaming services. So if you have local RTMP server, you can just put in your credentials right here, and then it will appear when you start streaming in the output. You just select, I want to stream to my local RTMP server or the Facebook server, whatnot. All that stuff is stored in here, and then you can export that as a streaming XML file. If you're familiar with ATEM switchers, you just put this file on your Mac and PC, and then it appears in ATEM software control. You can have many switchers connected, only one at a time, But as you can see down in the interface here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other switchers. One of them is a simulator. So if you're offline, you could actually tap and run the simulator and then play with your Supersource features. So this is a feature that's in the new version that's coming out. So like if you're bored standing in line, you're like, I need to make a new Supersource preset for my show next week. You can just go into the simulator and dicker around with it. You don't have to actually have a physical ATEM with you. Other cool things with this is that you can set your multi-view. So let me go back to my ATEM Extreme, and then you can tap multi-view and you basically see your multi-view interface and everything that's been selected here. All of this stuff works. You're looking at it as the iPad version, but we could also like, if I make this small, this is shortcuts on the left. You can see this would be the iPhone interface here, okay? So you can do all your, the exact same thing that you do on the iPad, you could do that on your iPhone. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to program that we can have another chat.
No, that's awesome. So I actually have on here Freddie Ponce, who I've been kind of hanging out with quite a bit since the beginning. Actually, it looks like someone who's been following you for a while, Colin. I think it's Mulkai. He says that you've interacted with him in the beta process and he wanted to give you a shout out. He's asking, did you add ramping to the Supersource animations in the new version?
Yeah, so in the new version, under the kind of like that menu that has the thing about animation and changing your box sources,
right?
You can change the different styles. So I've added like a cosine algorithm, a cube, inverse squared, linear, sine, smooth, smoother, and squared. So you can play with those to see how it works. And you know, I'm sure I'm going to be tweaking this a little bit more.
Right.
So I wanted to kind of get this feature out as quickly as possible. I'm very responsive to feedback that I get from the community. And, you know, I've just been working on this for the past 5 months, right? And now, you know, hundreds, hopefully thousands, hopefully tens of thousands of people are going to be using this product and, you know, sending me feedback, talking with other people in the community to make it better. One of the great things about the app, I think, is that, you know, with the Supersource presets, you can export them. You can share them with others. So if you have a preset pack that you think this is like the best thing, you can go out and send it off to people. Real quick, I'll just show you one more thing with the Supersource. So if I go back to the Supersource here, and we go to like, just say you're in a 4-up, one cool feature is that you can actually highlight people. So let's say I'm talking, I can just hit Command-1 on my keyboard and it will highlight me, okay? And just say someone else is talking on camera 3, I can just hit Command-3 and it'll highlight that person. So you could be doing a live show and you can get animations within your Supersource without having to change your Supersource. Okay, so if you're like in this view or in this kind of, this is a popular view that I see in a lot of kind of live streams, you know, person 2 is talking, I'll just highlight them. And
I love it.
It'll make them bigger and make the other people smaller. And another neat feature is if you have these sources connected to, you know, HDMI cameras, each with their own microphone, you can enable a feature in the audio section called video follows audio, where if a certain input's audio reaches a certain level or goes below a certain level, you could actually run a macro on your switcher. You can switch to a completely different camera input, or you could highlight a box in Supersource, or you could switch to a different Supersource layout. So let's say, again, you're in this view, and then you have video follows audio set so that, you know, when camera 1 is talking, go to this view, okay? But then, you know, if after a few seconds, no one's talking, switch back automatically to this view. So it's a way to kind of automate your kind of live production. If you're like a one-person band and you don't want to deal with the switching like in real time because you're doing other things, you can have it kind of run your production automatically. So I think that's kind of a feature I think people are going to enjoy using. There's also a lot of automation features. So one of the features that's coming out in MixEffect 1.02 this week is Stream Deck support. So you could have your Stream Deck, and I have it in this picture here. If I could bring that up, let me see. So let me put, let's see, this image up on Media Player 2. And let me just cut quickly to Media Player 2. So you see in the program, this is MixEffect on the left in the iPad, but you see my Stream Deck, and it has the exact same layout. I make it very easy for you to export your preset thumbnail, and then you can just import it straight into your Stream Deck. So now you'll be able to do MixEffect from your Stream Deck. So that's another kind of feature that I've been working on.
Wow. So my hope, Adam, is that lots of people will download the app. You know, I mean, I kind of have this feeling, I got a good feeling about the app. I think you're going to be very successful with people using it. There's a lot of reasons why. I'll cover those a little bit later in the live stream, just kind of my own opinion. But at the same time, I'm in the middle of my HyperDeck series, and now I have this whole new tool to learn because I'm so excited, because it is intuitive. In fact, I discovered today that you can just push on the buttons too when you have a Supersource up, and it does the zoom effect. So it must be the same thing you're doing. And if you have an Apple Pen, you know, it's even more intuitive if you want to use your pen. But I love the fact that you now have the ability to do hotkeys, which are great, which means that you could tie it with other ways. And then also the Stream Deck, man, I hope at some point I can just drag and drop an Extreme onto my Stream Deck and not have to import icons. I don't know if that's in the future, but that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So, one last question, and then we'll open it up for anybody else that has questions. Adam, do you have time to do all these beta testing and all that stuff with work? How did you find the time to do all this stuff? Was it because you were working at home with work, or how'd that happen?
I do work from home, and I've been working from home for, I don't know, the better part of the past like 15, 20 years. So I'm very used to the work from home kind of lifestyle.
Right.
A lot of it is time management and working in the wee hours and the late hours of the day when it's not the normal work day. So
awesome. That's great. Well, Ozzy, if they have any questions too, I'll forward them to you. I'm just looking right now to see if anybody else has. I see that Colin's excited. He said, boom, he added offline Supersource design, laugh out loud. Yeah, so I'm just looking to see if I missed anything here with questions. Yeah, so if you guys have any other questions, please type them in the comments, and I will pass those on to Adam. Anything else that you want to add before you go, Adam, for as far as, you know, what the process is going to be in the next, you know, maybe a number of months to give you feedback? How are we going to do that? How would you like us to do that if we run into any hiccups?
Yeah, so I have, I want to bring MixEffect to where you are on the internet. So I have a lot of places that I kind of monitor. Okay. So there's you know, I'm on a various kind of Blackmagic kind of community Facebook groups, like unofficial ones that are user run. I've created a MixEffect user group on Facebook. So if you search for that, you can sign up and join. Okay. It's currently a private group, so you just have to answer some questions. I have a MixEffect Slack community that you can join. There's a newsletter, you know, there's even a subreddit for MixEffect, which there's nobody in right now except for me. So if you want to go there, you know, I'll be there. Awesome. If you want to be in Facebook, that's where I'll be. If you want to be in Slack, that's where I'll be. And if you have, you know, feedback, questions, post there, and, you know, I hopefully will see them and respond to. So I'm very receptive to ideas. I can't implement everything. Right. So I've tried to implement a lot, but you know, I can't get everything in. I think one thing that I would like help on is kind of localization. So I know like the ATEM software control comes in, I don't know, 5 or 6 different languages. So if you're someone who wants to see MixEffect localized in your language, I have a GitHub repo that's open and public. You can see all the strings files that I have. So just, you know, translate those strings, submit a pull request, and I'd be happy to incorporate into the next version of the app. Awesome. Yeah, obviously I never even thought to say I've had people from other countries on my live, and, you know, shout out to them for being here. That would be one little hurdle that maybe they could help with. So if you want to give me a specific link that I could share with everybody, that would be the easiest way for them to hook up. Obviously, I will already have on the notes how to get the app and how to download it. And also you have your manuals and stuff there as well that you can click on. And so I appreciate it. I know one thing, one last thing I think maybe we just let people know
is that as long as you're on the same network with your iPhone or your iPad, then it'll automatically, after you put in, you know, your ATEM information, it'll automatically connect. Mine connects right away now when I open the app.
Right, right. It remembers the last switcher that you connected to. So you had multiple ones, just whatever the last one you connected to, it'll work.
Yeah. And so we'll talk more about that later in the live stream. So I am totally honored that you came on, Adam, that you allowed me to be the one to have you come on right after the release. That's so cool. I would love to hear more in the future. I'd love to have you on again in the future. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciated getting a chance to not only just sit here and watch you do a live demo was the highlight of my night, just to let you know.
Yeah, nothing crashed.
Nothing crashed. No, we did pretty good. So anything else you want to say before we go? Let you go back to coding?
Yeah, so the last thing is just if you want to get more information, the best place to get information is at mixeffect.app.
Yeah, MixEffect.app. And it was really simple to download. And like I said, I didn't find it hard at all to get it set up in my studio because I'm on a wireless network and it found it right away. So.
Right. I'll be remiss in mentioning that, you know, again, the app is free to download in the App Store, and to unlock MixEffect Pro, it's a single in-app purchase of about US $50.
Yeah. And I think there's some confusion. I had one client say that he didn't think Pro was out yet, and I was just going to wait and let him know that all they have to do is make that one subscription or whatever it is, and then you get all of those features. And I did have to do some unlocking, and maybe that's just, you know, that if I wanted those features, I have to unlock them one time and then they're on there all the time now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So it's not a subscription. It's just a single in-app purchase.
Yeah. I apologize. Yeah. A one-time subscription. Okay. So
a one-time subscription. Yes.
Well, again, thank you so much, man. You're a rock star all the way from California, the Bay Area. And a shout out from all of everybody's saying thanks, and they appreciate you being on. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds for MixEffect. And for Adam Taos, thank you, and have a great evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Keith.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, I hope you're impressed with having Adam on. It's been a joy to be a part of just this process. I did not have a clue that tonight was going to end up being a live stream with Adam, but I am honored again, and we just hit 500 subscribers. I can't think of a better gift to have someone like Adam, who's a designer who was using the same tools that a lot of us are using or you're about to get. Now, remember, you can do simple mixing with the ATEM Mini. It doesn't have a record feature or encoding feature in it, but that's like under $300. They just lowered the price of the ATEM Mini Pro. The difference between the Mini and the Pro ISO is that they have extra features built in. You don't add a USB-C, you don't add an HDMI. You still have 4 inputs. You still have the same amount of keys, same DVE, but you do get encoding inside. You can stream from it. You can record to an SSD drive, or you can get a hub and record to more than one drive. So when one's filled, the other one's going to fill up. And so the Pro will record the program view. The ISO will record all the ISO recordings. So I have an Extreme ISO now, and the Extreme does add a USB-C port. So I was using that tonight to communicate with Adam in Zoom, so I could have Zoom going at the same time as be streaming out to you from my ATEM Extreme ISO. My ISO will record all the channels. If you buy the Extreme, just the ATEM Mini Extreme, you'll get the same kind of features the Pro has, where you can record the program out, and that'll be the only file you have, but you'll still have the 2 USB-Cs. You'll still have 8 inputs. Again, 4 upstream keys, 2 downstream keys, Supersource. The list just goes on and on and on. So an incredible night so far. Again, shout out to Adam. And you might see him pop in tonight. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and we'll get with him and get him to answer those, or later I'll try to get the answers to you. So so let me just catch my breath here. I brought some sparkly drink. I don't drink the hard stuff anymore. No judgment. But I did bring some sparkly drink because we did hit 500 subscribers. And so I do want to take some of my melted ice because we went a little longer. add some sparkly to this. And I just really, really want to say thanks. And if you knew me, you would know how rare this is. Uh, Again, because normally I would just chill it and drink it out of the bottle or put it in one of those large plastic cups. But I wanted to just toast you guys for helping me build this channel, 500 subscribers. And really, this channel is about educating. It's not sponsored by MixEffect. I downloaded the app. I paid for the pro version. I reached out to ATEM through the contact information that was available to me on this download site, and he responded, which is incredible. And so this is to ATEM MixEffect's 500 subscribers. Those of you that have subscribed, I appreciate it so much. And as the channel grows, I hope that we can continue to encourage people and educate them. And I've even actually been doing some consulting with people that have come from the live show. So toast to all of you who've made this channel grow. And I've really only been working on it over the last 5-6 months. And so I thank you so much for helping me grow the channel. So one of the other things I want to do tonight, I should put this still up because you guys deserve to see it. So let me pop this still on the screen here. I'm sure I had a macro, I programmed some, but I'm going to go old school. So here's my celebration, 500 subscribers. I said in the last video when we hit 300 that I was going to get a bigger box. So I grabbed the bigger box. You can see the 500 in there. And I noticed tonight we were already over 503. So thank you so much. You know, you watch these numbers and they're valuable to you mainly because you just want to see the fruit of your labor. So if you're doing a live stream or if you are doing videos, obviously, I was inspired by guys that are doing videos. Peter McKinnon inspired me. I watched his channel for a long time. And now I have lots of people I subscribe to. I have influencers in the side of Black Magic Design products, influencers in the side of photography, influencers now with coding. I am staying in touch with different people that are actually writing tools for some of the things that we're using in the studio. I'm not a coder. I'm not an IT guy. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a creative. I owned a recording studio, and that's kind of the side I come from. So I definitely understand audio. I understand what it means to be in front of the camera. I understand interview processes and all that stuff, but running all this equipment, I got to tell you that I'm really excited about the idea of MixEffects. And so before I show you this clip that I prepared tonight on the HyperDeck, I want to say a couple of things in response to MixEffects. One, I'm really impressed that it has all the animations built into it. I have been experimenting with macros. I have macros right now programmed. You can use 6 of those macros. So if you record a macro on the ATEM Mini, the Pro, the ISO, the Extreme ISO, the first 6 on the ATEM Extreme and the Extreme ISO, their buttons are right on the front of the controller, and you can operate your first 6 macros. Obviously, if you get more macros than that, you'll have to open up the macro icon. For some reason, when I opened up last week live, I couldn't find it on my desktop. It does open up when you're streaming live. And then you have other slots to make macros, and you'd have to click on them there. I'm excited to be able to have not just the Stream Deck, because it's going to be on my desk, but to have an iPad when I go to my unboxing desk, or if I do a remote event, I'm going to use it. So I'll take my ATEM Mini Pro remotely. I may eventually have an Extreme ISO that I go remote with, and doors are opening up here in my state now, so I can get out and do some remote stuff. And I've already done a shoot for a local auto dealership. And it was a drive-up video and a welcome video, and all that was just taking the footage, piecing it all together. But if I was going to do a live stream or a live remote, and I'm hoping to do that for dealerships just like them, so I can go do their live remote, and I can come in with all the technology and host that maybe once a month, twice a month. That would be a blast. So I want to just give a shout out to Monty Stewart, who is on here. He's now kind of become a friend of mine. Again, met him right here on social media, and I think it's really cool how we're networking together. I see you on the live stream, Adam. Thanks for joining us back. I usually like to mention everybody. Colin, we talked about you earlier. Um, Freddie, obviously, I said you were here earlier. A couple of people jumped on and back off again. And Tom Q, Tech Tips, was on here but couldn't stay. And obviously, more people will be joining us as we go tonight, and we'll be watching the video after it goes live. So, MixEffects, in my opinion, Adam, thank you so much. It's a great tool. I'm really looking forward to diving deep into it and learning how to use each and every feature. And then also, it's on my iPhone. So anyway, we'll look at that before we go. I do have my iPad ready, and I do have it set up so I can bring it in. I want to look at that. But first of all, I wanted to show you guys a sneak peek. I am doing a series on the HyperDeck. The HyperDeck is that tool that we can use in with our ATEMs all the way up to the bigger consoles they're used. This video kind of gives you a breakdown of how it's used. So I'm going to switch to camera 7 here, and I want to roll this short little 3-minute snippet of my first HyperDeck Mini video, and these will be coming out here in the near future. I'm just now editing them, and I wanted to cut a little bit of that and show it to you guys tonight. So let me switch over, and we will roll this, and you guys can tune in, and we'll be right back. Well, welcome back to Life Journey Production Studios. I am Keith, and this is the HyperDeck series. I have it right here. This is mine. It's not sponsored. I purchased this. I have it unplugged. I've spent hours unhooking everything and setting up for this series. And so I hope you enjoy it. Again, this is the HyperDeck. Here is a close-up on my close-up camera. And you can see that. And this is a recorder. It is the perfect tool to record from. And I'm actually sending that signal through my iPhone into channel 8. So again, welcome back to the channel. I want to do a complete breakdown of the HyperDeck. It is a device that's used with the ATEM Mini Pro, Pro ISO, Extreme. And again, here's a close-up of mine right there. So you can see that on the screen, and it is fired up and waiting for us to hook up the HyperDeck to it. So again, a great tool. And we'll keep this camera rolling right here on the desk, on the HyperDeck. So the reason I'm doing this series is I have clients and I have other people that I've met on my channel here at Life Journey Production Studios, and we all are wondering how to use the HyperDeck. So the HyperDeck is designed to do 3 things. One, it can record, so I can literally feed in to this input right here on the bottom, and I can record up to 4K, 30 frames per second, and this will record at the highest 10-bit 422 ProRes. But then again, if you had a tool like the higher end models, you would actually be able to record RAW. This will record 422 10-bit, but that's as high as resolution this will record. You can also record to it H.264, and if you record to it H.264, then you can play that back, which brings me to point number 2. It can record and it can play back. That's right, you can plug it in and hook it up to your device, your switcher. You could use it with other devices as long as it can receive the signal from this and get the audio to it. You'd be able to play back videos to another device. And again, it has SDI outs. These are the 2-channel outs. These are for linking a number of HyperDecks together, or actually controlling them and syncing everything together. And then you have a serial hookup. You also have HDMI out for monitoring. And again, that's right there for the close-up camera. Let's get that in frame. There you go. And so you have the 2 SDI outs. You have input right here, and this is 6G, so it'll do up to 4K, 30 frames per second. And then you have the serial out, HDMI, power, and then USB-C, as well as an Ethernet port. So the HyperDeck is the tool that you're going to use with your ATEM Mini, your ATEM ISO or Pro, your ATEM Pro ISO, your Extreme now, your Extreme ISO, as well as some of the other products by Blackmagic Design if you want to play back video. So number one, you can record to it up to 4K 30 frames per second. Number two, you can actually play back from it. And so again, you'd have to have your clips. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get it hooked up, but you got to have them all the same format, all the same frame rates, and then it'll read multiple clips, and I have some ready for you tonight to see, and in part two. And then you have the ability also through these two channel out, you have the ability to do key and fill. So you could actually do animated graphics, or you could do a bug on the bottom of your deal that's moving all the time. You can set it into a loop mode. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but this is what you'd get out of the box, and you need to get a power cable for it. I have one right here. So we're going to go through the process of firing it up and then show you the screen and take you through some of the things that you have to do. That's all for the sneak peek. I did get a chance to get a little more bubbly. Better turn that off. Shout out again, Adam, a salute to you. Thank you so much for being on tonight. So the HyperDeck series is something I'm going to put it out. And again, there's no charge. It's going to be here on the channel. I really want to help people understand the value of that. Obviously, you do have the alpha key channel on it, so you could do a animated graphic. And if I switch cards right now in my HyperDeck, I actually have a macro designed tonight. And let me find it here. It's called animated logo in my macro. Remember when I talked about the first 6 on your front of your ATEM? This is actually number 9 on my ATEM. So I have 9 macros recorded tonight. Had a couple different ways to do our interview with Adam ready, and then we kind of decided to do it the way we did it prior to the live stream. So shout out to him. That was cool seeing his whole desk. So we'll hit this, and my animated logo pops in. That would not be possible without the HyperDeck to do an alpha channel like that, unless you had other ways of doing that and you were going from the ATEM into your computer. There's lots of things you can do if you want to go through the USB-C cable to your computer. But if you want to broadcast directly from the ATEM, then you're going to have to feed all this. Like even tonight, Zoom was coming in. My laptop was coming in to my ATEM, and then I was able to put that into Supersource. So the HyperDeck is that tool to play video. You can record to it. I like to record from my EOS R 4K. 30 frames per second. It does not do RAW. You have to go up to the Pro version to do RAW, but it has some features that Pro doesn't. You can go 422 recording, so very, very high codec, and that would be really important if you were going to get some headshots or something like that at an event where you're already hooked up and you wanted to just run the EOS R right through my HyperDeck. I can do that. So the other thing about the HyperDeck that will be in my video series, that's not all of part 1. We hook it up right there on the table. We talk about hooking it up. I show you the converters. We talk about those. I also talk about how I have the bigger converter. And so make sure you check out that video series when it comes out. The other thing that I talk about is how I can run into my HyperDeck through the input and show other sources. So right now I am going to get out of our live chat on my iPad so that I can show you guys the app here. And I'm going to go into my HyperDeck. So what you do is when you're not playing video on your HyperDeck, you can now use the input. And all I do is I hit the record button. You're going to watch the bug on the screen go away. And because I have craziness going on right now. Sorry about that. Okay. So that was a little unexpected right there. So obviously the iPad, when it shows up on the screen, doesn't fill the screen. So I could have done a macro and showed this, but I just want to show you that you can display the sources from your ATEM and give me 1 second here. Somehow I had a key on. So this is the iPad or my desktop. And if I cut to channel 7, this is my iPad. So I'm going to switch between these real quickly. So this is where you would go and download the MixEffect app, and you have the ability here to download the manual, and you can see there's a newsletter and there's a MixEffect community here, and then all the information's right here on this site, and you can see the address right up here on the screen. And then I can bring up my iPad and open up the app, and it's going to see my ATEM. Is going to tell me I'm on the air, and there it is right on the screen. And so it's really intuitive. You can't see me touching buttons, but I could go through here if I wanted to and open up Supersource. And so there's Supersource on my screen. And as I was saying earlier, I noticed that I could touch the buttons and these will increase. And so you can see it's just a very intuitive app. I know Adam busted through it. We'll be talking more about this. So I can go to switcher up here. I have the ability to go to the audio settings. Here's all the cameras. I can go in and show you my macros here. So there's my macro buttons. And you have media here. So you have the media player 1, media player 2. And I haven't dug deep into this yet to see if this is going to work with my HyperDeck, and I'm going to dive into that. I see HyperDeck Mini Upstream Key Motion Graphics, and so Adam, if you want to comment about that tonight, that's great. But again, so I just downloaded the app. I've played with it a couple times. I am going to dive into it because I'm live right now. I didn't really want to push a bunch of buttons. If I go into the output settings, my key is there because we're streaming live right now. But I love the app. I love what it's going to be able to do. I love the fact that now I have one more tool in my studio to be able to, just to work with and to be able to control all of this stuff when you're live. And some of you are going to be using it for work, and you're going to be having to do meetings, and you may want to bring in multiple sources in those meetings. And you will be able to do that with Supersource if you have the right tool. So I'm just bringing my iPad back up here so I can see the comments. The resolution on my screen share may not have been great because we have been using Zoom. Yeah, so Adam did have Zoom screen share up, but it looked pretty good to me. So if you guys can let him know in the chat here how that was tonight. So again, so really what I wanted to do tonight is, number one, have Adam on, talk about MixEffect. Again, you have the ability to bring it up on your phone, and I was wired in the middle of tonight to be able to show you that real quickly on the screen. I can go in here right now, and I have MixEffect here on my phone. I'm going to bring it up. And you can see I'm live. It gives me the red warning up there. And I could go into the switcher right now. And if I wanted to, I could change it. So I'm live on camera 2, and camera 1 is hot. Show you the back of my head real quick. And then I could hit auto. And there I go to that camera. And then I could go back again. And I have the bar right there. Like he said, if you download the free version, you can play with a little bar. I could go back and forth on the bar and do it manually. So it's really cool. And so this could be on the table with me, and I could be using it. I can also use my iPad, and it's not a Pro, it's just a regular iPad. Sorry, guys, it's right here. and I have the stream going on there. So I'm excited about how it's going to integrate with my studio. I've told you guys before, I have the Stream Deck on my desk and the large version, and I use it for controlling my lights. And so I constantly use it every day coming in here when I need light, or if I'm in a Zoom call or a consult, I'll flip on these two key lights right here. If I'm on the desk, I have the big UL 150s behind me, and those are really nice Godox lights, and I have links, and I've talked about those, even have a video on those. So MixEffect is going to be a great tool. So is the HyperDeck. For those of you that decide to add it, you can play videos from your iPad. You can play videos from your phone. All you need is one of these adapters. Again, if you want to do the recording to the HyperDeck, if you want to use it as another input, to switch to a camera input, or also use it for the alpha graphics, the motion graphics, then that's a different story. So again, I'm looking forward to getting that upgrade and adding it to my my MixEffect app right now, and seeing how those new features will pan out. So I do want to give a few minutes here. Monty says, thanks, Adam, from Dallas, Fort Worth. He gets 1K down, 1K up. That's pretty nice internet. Obviously, Adam is having all his bandwidth sucked up by Apple there. So if you guys don't have any other questions, please let me know in the comments here. I'm not going to keep you any longer than we need to tonight. I did want to say thank you and celebrate. I can take the headphones off now. You guys aren't used to seeing me with headphones on. I had them on so I could actually talk and listen to what Adam was saying. So again, I want to say thank you so much for 500 subscribers. I want to also say thank you again to Adam. For those of you that have been reaching out off camera, I appreciate that as well. And it's great to grow this network. I hope that you will all share this video, especially the MixEffect part of it, and make sure that other people know about this app. Be a help to Adam to get that word out. I really do think it's going to be a great app. I haven't run into any issues so far, Adam, with your app. And as I dig deeper, I'll let you know if I run into anything. So it's exciting to be growing and learning together, and having these live streams on Tuesday to kind of share new tech with you. I will be giving you some behind the scene footage of an install this week. I'm actually crossing the state to go to a small venue to do an install. One camera, ATEM Extreme, not the ISO version, the Extreme version, multi locations in the building that we're going to be sending the program view out, and also do some recording in that building as well for the program out, and then it's going to be integrated with live events going on in the building, and also some live streaming going on outside of the building, and probably some conferencing as well. So I'll give you some behind the scenes of that. I'm taking one of my cameras with me, as well as my iPhone and my iPad, and we're going to actually do some stuff there. Who knows? I may be live, so stay tuned. I may pop on live from that venue if we have a good enough signal up and down there. It'll be fun, and I'll share a little bit behind the scenes with you next week. Next week, we are going to dive a little deeper into MixEffects, as well as I will have another little clip for you, a part 2 of the HyperDeck series, so you can see what's about to come out here very shortly online. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Again, subscribing, I appreciate it. Like this video, share it. We want to get the news out for Adam. I've already done some blogs and some posts on social media. And if you download the app, I would love to hear your feedback on MixEffects. And if you have a HyperDeck, I would love to know more about your experience with the HyperDeck. Eventually, I will be using another tool so I can pop some questions on the screen. So we'll see how that plays out in the near future here on the channel. So I hope you guys are growing and learning things and having a good time gathering with me here on the channel. I know for me, it's a privilege to to study and get ready every week. There's always something I want to spend some more time on. I shared with a friend today that I was on preparing for this meeting pretty much all day. I'd never used Zoom in a live stream before like this. I use Zoom all the time, but never in a live. So that was quite fun tonight. And you got to see it right here, first time ever. That was fun. So again, I want to give a shout out to those of you that joined me tonight. Thank you so much. I hope that you will enjoy your tools in your studio. And again, I'd love to hear about what you're using, how you're using it. Are you live streaming? Are you getting ready to live stream? I'd love to know more about that right here in the notes. And you can find my website at lifejourneyproductions.com, and I'll have a link in the notes later tonight so you can find my website. You can see lots of my videos there. They're already on my channel, and you can subscribe there to my newsletter that we're going to be doing here very soon. So again, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you, Adam, for being with me tonight. Friends, we'll call it a night, and I hope you have a great evening, and we will see you again here next Tuesday for sure, and possibly on Friday or Saturday over on the other side of the state of Washington. To the Bay Area, to Texas, all the other places that you came from, I should have asked you, please put them in the notes tonight. I know that Freddie's all the way here from Venezuela. Thank you, Freddie, for joining me. We will see you here in the next video. I'm Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and have a wonderful, great adventure, and we'll see you next week.